Hi guys, it's Nathan from Headbangers. So today we're counting down our September bangers. There was a lot of good stuff released in September. And I think that's a bit of an understatement. You know, pretty much every week we had a banging album coming out. It was very hard to comprise a list for September. But yeah, we managed to do it. We talked a lot about a lot of great bands. I also had a lot of stuttering, so I apologize for that in advance. But yeah, it was. I think this is a good episode. I hope you enjoy. We also do have merch out. So again, I'm gonna remind you if you message us, yeah, there's some shirts available. And also if you like the podcast and you want to keep us doing what we're doing, remember if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And if you're watching it on any streaming platforms, leave us a rating because it really does help us. And also follow us on the stream platform of your choice. But yeah, without further ado, get into the episode now.
Welcome back to the Headbangers podcast, where your hosts Nathan and Brad. Today we're doing the September bangers, and I got to say, September has been a fantastic month. In fact, I think it might be probably my favorite month so far for releases. It's just been non-stop chaos in the metal and hardcore scene. What have you thought of September as a whole, Nathan?
Well, it was all right, yeah.
Yeah,
It's an all right month. I mean, do you mean like in terms of releases or just in general?
Yeah.
Because it was very mid. It was very mid in terms of just like September, but it was very good in terms of releases.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. I enjoyed some of the stuff that came out. There was some stuff that I was like did not get the chance to listen to. Everyone knows that I'm the worst for fucking listening to new shit because I just kind of get bombarded with it, and I'm like, I can't be asked listening to that.
But I gotta say, there's been
the ones that did
a lot
really
of good ones. Yeah, there's been a lot of good ones. Do you want to kick us off with the first one on your list?
Yeah, so we picked the same band because the album that they released, fucking amazing.
Monumental.
We both picked different tracks though. Like we thought we're not gonna be lazy. We both picked two different tracks. I have a reason why I've picked this track, and it's mainly because of like one of the breakdowns in it. But number one for me, to start off, it's in no particular order. But number one for me is Tribal Gaze with with this creature I return.
So yeah, I think we can double down on this one because obviously, like, just picking two tracks in this alone was pretty hard. This whole album just swept me away. Like, it's because I wasn't expecting. I saw a few people shouting about it on Twitter, and I was like, I have to check this out. It's always like the Friday releases, and like, goddamn, I mean, talk about an elephant in the room with those fucking heavy hitting riffs,
mate. The fucking like 1 minute 40 mark in the song that I picked. Fuck me, it is so good. It is amazing. Oh my god, it's just so brutal. It's just so brutal. And it's like all that album is, and like I'm not gonna lie, didn't know who Tribal Gaze was before this album at all. I'd never heard of them. There's that many death metal bands out there. You can't know them all. And then I saw it popping off on the Headbangers Twitter. Like just like you, bro. I saw Bangers and Mosh talking about it. I saw Faye tweeting about it, and I was there like, I'm gonna check this out because it's getting quite a lot of reception. And Jesus Christ, was I impressed! It was so good. It's such a solid album altogether. But it's like I feel like we're in a moment in time where we're not really appreciating this, but I think we're in another golden age of fucking death metal at the moment.
Oh yeah,
like we really are. Like,
no, I completely agree. I think there's been a bit of a renaissance recently of death metal. Like, there's so many bands cropping up, releasing great albums. Like, the time is now for death metal, I think. And fucking hell, like, just there's so many monster riffs in this album, but not only that, like, the production is clean. It shows that you don't need to have this potato quality, production for a death metal album to sound more brutal. Like, it sounds crisp, but at the same time, like, the riffs carry it. Like, almost like it feels like there's a gravity to the riffs and the drumming and the vocals, because it just pulls you down and smacks you in the face. Like,
Well,
it's brilliant.
you know, I keep seeing people being like, "Yo, bring back, the '90s death metal wave, bring that back." And if I'm honest, there's a new wave coming, bro. There's a new wave here, and it is so. I know I'm gonna piss some people off, but it's so much better than the '90s stuff. Like, in my opinion, like this shit that we're getting now is so refined, so perfected. Like, it's got death metal is now translated into something really fucking amazing, in my own
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
Like, there's that much shit in it, intertwined in it. It's like what we were talking on Faye's podcast, which you should check out. Check out. Like we talked about hardcore guys doing death metal bands. We saw it with other bands before, but like we're seeing like this really, really, really weird shift where you're getting a lot of like hardcore guys that are get more into death metal, and they go, "Fuck it, I'd like to do a death metal band because I don't really want to be in a hardcore band, or I've been in hardcore bands, I fancy something different." And then they take all those influences that they have from that band, and then they put it into death metal. And what that's had a knock-on effect of is that now death metal has groove, but like really, really good groove, as well as crushing, breaking, like bone-breaking riffs. Like, it is transcended into a better zone, I think, because I feel like that was what it was lacking in the '90s. It was just all brutal all the time, whereas now there's a lot more substance to your death metal.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I mean, like, yeah, you've got more. You've got more of a bounce to it as well, and this, like, it's just the new death metal's coming out, and if you haven't listened to the new Tribal Gaze album, fucking just pause this, just fucking listen to it, because it is so good. Like, I listened to it in full, and this is how I know it was good, because it was one of the first albums from this year I listened to in full.
Yeah,
and I didn't take a break.
I've not listened to it since it's come out, because it's just been that good. And like you said, I think it feels like a time now where all fans of brutal music, whether it's hardcore, whether it's death metal, they're all sort of like round like a cauldron, just like saying a bit of this, bit of that, bit of this, and then they stir it together, and then you get stuff like Tribal Gaze, Frozen Soul, 200 Stab Wounds, like Blood Incantation. There's just so much going on, and I feel like, if you're a bit apprehensive, like I said, if you're just like so stuck on those '90s bands, just give it a chance, because like you have no idea how brutal these things can be now. Like, now that everyone's pouring the influences into these albums, like, fuck me.
I know, like 200 Stab Wounds is another example of, like, I tell you what, I feel like such a hipster with them as well, because I remember flashback to last year when I was begging you to listen to them, and now everyone's talking about them, and I felt like a right hipster. I was there like, I knew these guys were going to blow up, and they fucking have.
Solid stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's not been a new death metal band that's come out that I didn't like, if I'm honest. Like Mortifurium and stuff like that. They're also amazing. Like, there's so many good death metal bands out there right now where it's like, it's hard to even like put into words, because it's just a sea of like very, very fucking good death metal.
And that's a great segue, Nathan, into my next one, which is another great sort of newer death metal band, PHOBOPHILIC. And they released a new album in September. The song that stuck out to me the most was Those Who Stare Back. This was released the same day as Tribal Gaze. So you can imagine, like, my working from home day was pretty chaotic, like, hearing this. So yeah, it was fucking, it was great. Like, there's a lot of moments where it does have groove, like you said, like they know how to bring it back, pace it down, but also there's a lot of fast moments as well. They seem like they're quite technical, but they don't, like, it's not a guitar wank all the way through. Like, they know when to bring it back. But PHOBOPHILIC, so good. I never really knew about these guys, but I've always heard the name. It's one of those things. But then when everyone started talking about this one, I had to check it out. And they've got that, those disgusting vocals, like, oh man, it's just perfect, this whole thing.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I tell you what took me by surprise with this by surprise. I every time we do the bangers episodes, it's like I fucking forget to speak, like how
It's
to
like turning
speak.
to Porky Pig from Looney Tunes.
Yeah, like it proper. I don't know what happens, but I'm
Yes, please.
that's all, folks. Um, no, like you've made me lose my train of thought because now, can we end the episode with Porky Pig?
Yeah, we might have to do that.
Yeah, we might have to. Anyway, no, what really, really surprised me with this really like song that you put, because I you obviously we
Yeah.
listened to it before we start record, was that it took me by surprise that was a very, very melodic bit at the end, like this
Yeah.
full on like little guitar solo, almost like ballady feeling like solo, and I was there like that is a nice little flavor that will thrown in there. Like it was very brutal baroque, and then it does that, but it doesn't do it in a way where like that didn't really fit this. Did that need to be there? It's like
Yeah.
you don't really notice it in first and go, you know what? You could take this out of a death metal track and put it into another one, and it would fit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it would, like you could put cleans over that and it would fit. So I thought that was a very interesting sort of like a little addition to the track as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's nice when death metal bands do that because, like I said, it doesn't always work. But like, I think back to bands like Entombed, of Left Hand Path when they've got that sort of spooky section, like Morbid Angel had it. But like it's nice. It's nice to have that little break. And I think death metal can be quite atmospheric sometimes. And I think it gives that nice break in between because, it's kind of pounding you for a lot of it. And then it comes in with that, which is a nice segue. But yeah, no, I think this is it's just a great death metal record. It's the only way to put it. And I think again, this is sort of more on the lines of if you like, a lot of the 90s shit, they take it but make it fresh. And
Definitely,
that's what's great about Phobophilic. But
definitely.
they're still quite technical as well,
Yeah, there was a lot of technicality there. There was a lot of technicality, and I love that, like what you said, that it wasn't just a big guitar wank, because
Yeah.
that fucks me off. Like, because whenever someone says technical, they don't necessarily mean when you listen to it. If you're a guitarist, you enjoy it, but if you're a standard listener, you won't. Like, there was a lot of technicality there, and it was very impressive that you could tell that as players, they probably could do more mental shit.
Yeah.
But they held off, which is something I always fucking love to see, because it's like you've not sacrificed the song there. You've been like, you know what, we could go a bit more mental, but it sounds better like this. So
yeah, sort of like just because you can doesn't mean you should. That sort of thing.
Definitely. Just because you can sweet pick doesn't mean necessarily the song picks. The song fits it, mate. But yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really shit at pronouncing things, and I could really fuck up the pronunciation.
Yeah, this with the Porky Pig attitude today might be a bit of a tongue twister for you.
Yeah,
but you can...
so I apologize if I do get the pronunciation wrong.
Links in the description just in case.
But yeah, the links in the description. Could you say it, Brad? You said it better.
Skelet Grind.
Yeah, Skelet Grind. That's on my list now. That's on my list. They released their not debut, but they released a new album in September. I think it was the 17th. Now I originally found these guys through that Hate56, the guy that does all the like the hardcore videos and stuff like that of gigs and shows and stuff like that. He went down, filmed them, and he posted them on his Instagram. And from there, I followed him on Instagram, and I was very intrigued in like what music they made and stuff like that. Went on their Spotify when they were kind of like being like, yeah, we've just made like a new album. And whoa, they're so fucking brutal. But like they're like a grindcore band, but they're not the obnoxious grindcore. They're the right, they're the right amount of grindcore. Do you know what I mean?
Grind. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of people doing grindcore at the moment well, and these guys are doing them very, very fucking well. Like, specifically the song that I picked is endowed with windows. Why can't I speak? But let me just get a minute to
Like you're
compose
morphine.
I don't know what's going on. Endowed with windows is a banger of a track. It's very, very brutal, but it's also got a lot of nice little groove in there too. I really, really like this band, and I think they're going to be one of those bands that are going to definitely get a lot bigger as the years go on. And their live shows look fucking incredible. Like they post it all the time on their socials, and it looks like everyone in the band is having fun. Everyone's really enjoying themselves. And they're making sure they put on a really good show. So that's also great, but the music's also very fucking solid.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously I think that was the first one I listened to out of the ones that you selected, and I really enjoyed it. You know, I think short but sweet is the best way to put it. You know, they don't stick around too long, but when it does, it proper kicks you in the face. I really like the riff. I think it's like 1 minute 20 into it when it like breaks down. But like it's a proper like groovy section, which again is quite rare for grind, I suppose. Sometimes it can just blast all the way through with a few toilet noises, and then Bob's your uncle, that's done. It's got the shortness of the grindcore, but I think again it goes into that thing we were talking about where we're at a time where people are lending a bit from other genres and then putting it in there. It's sort of it feels like grindcore, but there's definitely elements of like death metal and hardcore in there too. So yeah, I think it's just brutal. Like it's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, and like I might be wrong, but there's on the band foot, there's only 3 of them, and I've only seen like photos of 3 people. So like, there's only like I think there's just the guitarist and a drummer and the vocalist. And like to say again, I could be wrong, but to say that there's only like 3 people in the band, like the impact doesn't suffer like at all.
Yeah.
Like it sounds fucking mint. Like you and you'd listen to them, you'd think they were like a big 5-piece, but no, it's just like 3 people. Again, could be wrong about the 3 people part, but I've only ever seen one photo of 3 people only. So
yeah, it's probably the case then.
But yeah, like honestly, solid band, and I feel like they're not getting as much attention from, especially in the UK, as they should be. Like I know in America they're getting a lot more attention, but I don't see a lot of UK heads sort of shouting about them. Like I really don't. So if I feel like a lot of more people should be exposed to these guys because they are really good, and they're kind of making, in my opinion, grindcore more relevant again.
Yeah,
I mean, good. Because that was something that it popped off. It popped up. There was we had like a stage in like 2014 where it looked like it was about to pop off again. We got a few like grindcore bands sort of pop up. We had a few grindcore bands sort of pop up, and then they all kind of disappeared. Kind of, I think like a lot of people turned away from that sort of style and just went, fuck it, I'll just do death metal. But yeah, like I feel like these guys have gone, okay, grindcore, but hardcore meets death metal with a bit of groove as well. And it's like, oh yeah, this is a really good blend. It's not too in your face. It's not too like out there. It's very fucking great. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, I think they've chosen to do grind in the right way because with the fingers of grind, it can be quite a box genre. And I think the only way that it can continue to evolve and stay alive is if people will then take some other sort of components and add it in there. Much like they used to do in like Wake were originally a grind band and then they changed. Like I think now's the time when you can do stuff with grinds, but like School of Grind probably did it the right way. When it's encompassing a lot of other things as well, and I think that's what's great about these guys. And even if they're not big in the UK right now, hopefully people watching this, they should give them a listen. And I think over time, the more albums are released, they might get a bit more traction because I think they're definitely worth the listen.
Definitely, they really are. I checked out some of their older stuff, just as solid. But yeah, I can't recommend this band anymore because I do think that they're really fucking good. It's hard when we do these September bangers because it's like I could just like tell you word for like, like beat by beat how good it is. But I feel like it's one of those you got to also experience. So that's why we're making the list. So, once you're done with this episode, pop off and listen to it.
Yeah, put your feet up and just crack them on. So my next one is obviously we're band that I'm a fan of, Nathan's a fan of. And they've really, really made a massive comeback, and it's been noticed by a lot of people, which is Bloodbath. They made the latest album. But the one track that really sticks out to me is Putrefying Corpse. For many reasons. I mean, the whole album is amazing. Like, obviously, Bloodbath are a very popular death metal band. It's probably one of the best super groups out there. They've always had like band members coming and going from like, you've got Opeth, Paradise Lost, back in the day you had members of Hypocrisy. So yeah, they've always been great. But I feel like this is like with the Nick Holmes era, this is the one that really shined. They sort of like when, Grand Morbid Funeral, it was sort of like a Death Doom sort of twinge than the album that came after it. They were sort of leading more into the death metal sound again. But there's still a lot of doom elements still kind of creeping around. This one there is straightforward death metal, but done extremely well. I think it's probably one of the best albums they've released in a while. And after seeing, many people review it, I haven't seen a bad word about it. And there's very good reason for that. This song in particular just kicks you right in the face straight away. It's like, okay, we like the doom stuff, but now it's time to go a bit fast again. They picked up the pace. And they've also got, speaking of grinds, the original grind fucking king, Barney from Napalm
I was
Death.
going to say, can we address the elephant in the room and talk about Barney's fucking feature? Because that guy, man, it's like, can we throw up that
Legend.
TikTok? He's like, that's why he's the GOAT. But no, he is the GOAT. He is very fucking...
He's the GOAT.
He is the GOAT. You know what? There's not many vocalists. Like, he's not like... We get like a lot of people being like, oh yeah, this vocalist is great because of this technique. He can do this and he can do that. Barney has one set tone, but that set tone is fucking pissed off. Yeah. And it's like, it's perfect for everything he does because it's so aggressive. It's not like the deepest deep, like low, the highest high. It's just pissed off, raw fucking
feels
like anger.
primal.
Do you know what I mean?
Primal.
Like, and I feel like that is why he's the GOAT, because it's like, it's just pure anger blasted at you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
it's just so aggressive, and it's the feature is no different to that, like to how he is in Napalm Death. It's got the same rawness, everything like Nick. Obviously Nick's vocals fucking unbelievable in this
disgusting
in this album, but especially in this track. And Bloodbath have been one of those. Me and you have both spoke about it being like that band that we've always been like, you know what? Maybe they're the kings of death metal, because like honestly,
they are.
They're amazing. Like they're so consistent, Everything they do, it's always a killer. And I think they're massively slept on. Like I know they're big, but they could be
completely agree.
Bigger.
I agree. They are the fucking GOAT, and it can't be denied. Like every time they release an album, like it always sets apart. Like, there's been so many great death metal albums this year, but as soon as I listened to that album, I was like, yeah, the kings are back. They're like, because sometimes I think it's sometimes hard for like a more of a legacy band, which I guess now Bloodbath sort of are becoming that. After all this time. Yeah, after all that time, they sort of are. So to come back and sort of compete as well, doing lengths with some of the younger bands, but they do it. Like, they've they lost a member, they've got a new member now, and they still came back. They've got a member from Lick now, which obviously a sick death metal band that are a bit newer. And I think he's really put his twists in it because, Lick have some very disgusting riffs as well. And obviously Nick Holmes vocals, they've just got that really like wretched, disgusting feel. And that's the great thing about Bloodbath. Like every vocalist has brought their own style into it, and it feels like a different era each time. Obviously, you have Mike Ockerfeld, who's my number one favorite vocalist. But then, Nick comes in and still shows that they can do it differently but well. Yeah,
and you know what? Like, it still has that old death metal sound, but they have more than enough willingness to change their sound as the times go, which
Yeah.
I can't say that for many bands. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bands that have ridden that wave. Yeah, I mean, like since the 90s, been like, yeah, we'll just churn out, like, we'll just churn this out. This has been our sound since the start. We're not changing because this is what we all like, which is fair enough. But Bloodbath have always shown a very, very good mindset of like, you know what? Last time we didn't really do that well. Maybe this time we improve on that part and solidify and make that better. I liked their last album. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well to put together. But I like how they've been like, okay, I do want to make something brutal now. And it's like they've reined it back, but also put some new twists in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly agree. I think they are sort of underrated. And I think the reason why, they managed to keep up with the times is because of, it is a super group. I feel like when you're in a band for so long, like, maybe like 30 years or something, it is easy to get complacent and like, this is our sound, like we don't need to change for anyone, which is fair. Some bands do that well. But like with Bloodbath, because it's like a super group, it's sort of like a collective. It's like an Avengers of death metal. So that everyone comes together to bring their influences from their own bands into this.
Definitely.
I think that's why Bloodbath stayed alive for so long. And if you haven't listened to Bloodbath, which you probably have if you like death metal, then you need to fucking listen to them because
it also proper fucks me up, like the fact that Nick Holmes is both in Paradise Lost and Bloodbath, because the contrast between the two is unbelievable.
Yeah,
like it's like it always fucks me up. I always forget it's the same fucking guy. Do you know what I mean? Like I always forget it's him. Like
that's how good he is, though.
But that's a testament. That's a testament to how good he is at doing both. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's even more funny when you like listen to like the 80s goth style album that they made in 2000, when it's like, kind of a bit like Sisters of Mercy and shit like that. And then they come back and then, you compare that to Bloodbath and it's like, this is the same guy. It's such a good vocalist,
Yeah, like I remember when we saw Bloodbath and Paradise Lost at Damnation 2017.
Yeah.
It fucked with me head that it were the same guy. Because that until that point, I thought it was two different guys. From listening to them both, I was like, yeah, these are definitely two. And I was like, remember when Bloodbath, I did it again. I did it again. I did it to correct myself, and I did it fucking again. Bloodbath came on that fucking stage. If I did that a third time, I'd have just ended the podcast right there. But when they came on that stage, I remember looking at you and being like, another guy from Paradise Lost.
That's it, man. But yeah, honestly, listen to this album. Like I generally think it's going to be on a lot of people's top of the year lists, and I'll be surprised if it's not.
Yeah, I mean, it's already making the rounds, like as it is.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling it's going to be pretty high on mine. But yeah, Nathan, kick us off with what's next.
All right, Brad. So my next one is from this amazing Australian band, Volatile Wear. Back in 2019, I sent you their first EP, and they've come back with one for the Bloodborne fans, Goddess Overwrought. What a tune! It is so fucking good. Like, it's got a good groove. It's brutal, but like honestly, it's just so good. Like, it just hits so hard. Like, they knew what they were doing when they were making this. It's like, have you ever seen the what is it? Those Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
It's like filth, breakdowns, 2 steps.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like all thrown into one. Like,
yeah, no, it's pretty sick. I mean, I think the one that you sent me, they had a feature from Maleficent, and I think they also have a feature of Ingested as well. So like, they're picking up the rounds with who's popping at the scene. But yeah, I really enjoy the track. I've listened to a few Volatile Wear songs, and it's just like you said. There's something about Australia. I don't know whether it's the climate, but you do occasionally get just like Justice for the Damned, like you just get these bands pop up, and then they just release the most brutal, disgusting, filthy music, and that's exactly what Volatile Wears is.
Oh yeah, it's something about Australia. I was actually me and mate had a really good conversation about this. So we have a theory on why bands from Australia are so good.
It's going to lead very well into my next one, but go on.
Right. So my theory is, I know we've actually planned this really well.
I know.
Like,
Definitely not on purpose, but it's just nicely done.
It wasn't on purpose, but because I'm pretty, yeah, I'll save it later for later. But
Yeah.
but mine and my mate's theory about bands from Australia is because Australia is that fucking big, right? If you're a band in Australia, yeah, you've got to have a lot of dedication, because if you're doing a show in Queensland and then you've got another show like somewhere like way out, it's like a fucking 3-day drive to get there. So it's like you've got to be really dedicated, but at best as well, because it takes that much time for you to get there and it takes that much money for you to get there. When people are putting you on tours and that's obviously a very conscious thing. So you've also got to be really fucking solid, which is why the bands that do like get like a decent sound get a lot of shout about them. Like Speed, they're another one that are fucking amazing. They're from Australian hardcore band. You know, you've got to be as solid as humanly fucking possible to be able to like branch out of Australia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be that really, really dedicated as well, which is why when the bands that do branch out of Australia, it's like Thy Eyes Murder, when they did the US tour, we were like fucking one show every fucking night, or like 2 shows a night and shit like that.
Tour, yeah.
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? Where it was just a ridiculous bill, but like they're dedicated, so they're like, yeah, we fucking wanted to do this. You know, normally in Australia we'd drive fucking 3 days for the next gig, so this is all fine by me. Like,
Yeah, they're probably like, you know, probably all that time with the mileage, like writing the albums in between. Probably like, you know, wrote the whole entire Hate album doing that tour. So yeah,
exactly.
no, it's yeah, it must be something about it. And I think, you know, like you said, it takes a lot to break out of that. So like, you know, the bands that they're in it, you know, it's not kind of like, oh, I don't know, I can't make it this week for band practice. It's like, no, like I'll give up my fucking job to come to this practice and make some brutal riffs with you right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. And that, honestly, everyone in the UK who start on about starting a band, just think, right? When you get an email, or when you get a message from a drummer and you say you live in Manchester and he lives in fucking Sheffield, you know, oh, it's an hour drive. Just think there's bands out there that have to drive like 9 fucking hours for a band practice. So
Yeah, think about that.
Maybe an hour's not
you could
that
lap
bad.
the entire UK in that time.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe an hour's not that bad. So, you know, I feel like that's why America has some really fucking great bands, because you've got to have dedication, because again,
yeah,
the amount of time it takes you to get there, driving's basically necessary. You know, Australia, anywhere that's massive, normally the bands are pretty solid from there. And I think it's because you've got to have a lot more dedication than us privileged fuckers that are in this island. But it's like, oh, it takes 3 hours to drive to London. Oh, I can't be hard. Most people do that in the fucking daily commute.
Yeah.
In
Shut up and fucking do it.
in Australia. So, you know, it's not, you know, like, I think there's just something about those bigger fucking countries where it's like those fuckers are on a different level of dedication to what they want to do.
Absolutely. And Volatile Wears, I mean, if not for the fucking song name after Bloodborne and the crunchy riffs, like that should be the tagline enough to get yourself out there, get a listen to Volatile Wears. They're sacrificing their time and money to do this for you. So you pay them the favor back.
Yeah.
Which leads very nicely.
Yeah.
It leads very nicely into mine. Yeah. Because mine is also an Australian band. Probably a bit more money than Volatile Wears, to be honest. But yeah, they're doing the rounds. Parkway Drive. Now, they released an album recently, Darker Still. Now, this one was honestly a very slept on album in the case that it came out and not many people actually talked about it. When I saw people talk about it, you know, people had a lot of negative things to say about it. Now, I know Parkway Drive is not like, obviously, they're popular. Like, people are listening because they wouldn't be doing stadium tours if not. But people still sort of like, you know, online, you know, I don't see a lot of like good reception to some of their albums recently, you know, ever since they changed the sound to go for, I guess you'd say, more mainstream appeal. But I thought this is a very interesting album from Parkway, and it does have some experimental elements in there too. You know, you've got like Darker Still, which is a great fucking ballad. The song there that I think will still grab all the Parkway fans is Soul Bleach. Like, fuck me. I remember, coming back from the airport, like, on my way back from Poland, and I listened to this song because I'd see, let's see what this Parkway is doing. Let's see what's going on in their camp. And this song, fuck me. Like, this is as brutal. This could be on Dark Days. This could be on any of their older stuff and fit in very nicely. It does set apart from the other ones, and I do sort of I would like them to be more songs like this on the album. But I think this song encapsulates every good part of Parkway, and it has, I dare say, the best breakdown that they've ever written on it.
It does.
That's my
It does
piece.
have a very good breakdown.
He does some like gutturals, like he does like this sort of like
Yeah.
proper death growl halfway through. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, like I thought it was a very good track. And I tell you what, there was one bit in it, when he just does that just he talks, right? Like when he talks and it's like, I can't remember what he says, but if it was anyone else, I'd think that was a bit of a cringy line. But because it's Parkway, I'm gonna let it slide. You don't know why?
Yeah.
Because of they look like the nicest guys on the fucking planet.
Yeah.
Like if
They're
you've
the
ever
good
watched
boys.
like if you ever watched that documentary about them, there's a reason why they got so big. It's because they seem very fucking nice and very fucking genuine. And I feel like that's always shows in their music. I feel like they're
there's a couple of
genuinely happy
dudes.
to be there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, genuinely really happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And this whole album, like it touches, I know they've been in sort of a dark place recently, and I think you can see that on the album. Songs like Glitch, they talk about mental health and they talk about sort of being in that dark space and overcoming those feelings. And I think it's sort of a nice message, and it's something that Parkway has always done very well. And this album has like a lot of variety. So I think I wouldn't write it off just by listening to one single or the second single. Like actually listen to the full thing, because I think there's a bit of Parkway for everyone on there. But Soul Bleach, I guarantee if you like Parkway Drive, you will like the song, because this is just as brutal as their older stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that album, to be fair. I know a lot of people kind of giving it shit, being like, "Oh, Parkway Drive's a ballad band now," and it was like,
I hate hearing that. I'm like, fuck off.
it was like,
Soul Bleach is not a fucking ballad, mate.
yeah, but not only that, they've done ballads all the way through their fucking career. Like it's not like it's not a left turn. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. It's like they've done it since day fucking one. Do you know what I mean? Like, how could okay? Did you listen to only the ones with breakdowns in it? Okay, fair enough. Yeah. They had them from the fucking beginning.
Shadowboxing from Reverence. That's
you know what I mean? Yeah,
ballad.
Yeah, every single fucking album they've ever made has a ballad in it. So yeah, of course there's going to be a couple in fucking this one, because they're doing pretty well as well. Like, so I thought this was a very slept on album. I really appreciate it. I thought it was definitely one of the underdogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get? Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it?
But I will say, I think it's. Now, this is something that people might look in a negative light, but I think it's good that Parkway does, is that they do make songs that you can imagine being great live. There's a lot of haze and stuff like that. And, moments where you can imagine like them interacting with the crowd at that point. But when you watch Parkway Drive live, even people that aren't a massive fan, I'd never heard someone come out of the show and said, I was disappointed with that. It wasn't what I expected. Like, they're always a great time. And I think it's good for bands to do that, because you make an album that's great for listening, and that's great. But what about when you play it live? Like, you want moments when you can interact with the crowd, and sometimes including that in a song doesn't make it bad. It just means that you've thought ahead.
Yeah, and you know what? I think Parkway are the best festival band.
They are.
Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people say that as an insult, being like, yeah, they're a good festival band. It's not really an insult, though. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like,
do you not want to enjoy yourself at a show?
Do you not want to enjoy yourself? Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
that's not why you go to shows.
It's like, and your point is,
everybody should be a fucking festival band.
Yeah, it's like, how much money you can get.
Where the most of the money
just
come
festivals. From. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's where the most fucking money comes. So yeah, of course. Like, if you think about it, your band, you get to do a festival tour, right? Of just festivals. If you're a festival band, you know how many fucking festivals there are around the fucking world. Yeah, and if you're a band like Parkway, you're gonna get a decent little payout of that, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Like, so fuck you if you're there like, it's just a festival band.
Yeah.
And honestly, they were the best fucking band I've seen live at a festival to this day.
Yeah,
to this fucking day. Like, I remember when I saw Bloodstock 2019, that was their best headlining set of the entire weekend. By the way, Bloodstock, that should have been the last headlining set because who the fuck was it? That Scorpions? No, it was Scorpions. Yeah, Scorpions. Fucking shite. Worst way to end the fucking festival. If it ended with Parkway, best fucking festival ever.
Yeah.
But the fact you ended it,
and you know what? If you
didn't even come close.
And if you're watching Bloodstock and you do want to book Parkway again for this year, I'd be happy to see them again. If that was another like rerun of Parkway, I don't mind. Let's do it.
Mate, it was class. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's still to this day the best live show I've seen at a festival ever. Like I remember watching it, being like, "Oh my god!" And the best part is all the shit that they got from everyone at Bloodstock, being like, "Well, I'm staying in my tent and drinking wine. I'm not going to see that." Well, you fucking missed out because it was fucking good. Yeah, and if you just put your fucking like elitist fucking mindset aside for 5 fucking minutes, you'd have loved it.
Yeah, so keep it back at camp.
Yeah, keep it back at camp then. You know, we didn't even want you at Parkway at 2019 Bloodstock.
Boo. Right, kick us off. What's next?
So it is a lot of power. Born into War for me. So, little hardcore band. You know what I'm like. It wouldn't be a Nathan list if it wasn't chock full of that shit.
Exactly. Well, like a celebrations box, you're not just going to get like Maltesers and stuff like that. There'll be other stuff. There'll be Milky Ways, there'll be Galaxies, all kinds of shit.
I half thought about renaming the podcast the Hardcore Kid and the Metalhead, because at this point, I listen to way more hardcore than I do metal. But yeah, Born into War, it was fucking sick. The opening riff, bouncy as fuck, gets you straight into the song. Do you know what I mean? It's fast paced, it's classic hardcore sound, and the end breakdown is something else.
Yeah, I quite enjoy this one. Like I said, it's nice to throw these things in as well because there's more there's so much brutality in all the bands around now, and I think you've got to sort of open your mind, try some new shit out, and I think that Laura Power does it well. Born into War, yeah. I really enjoy this, and there's like a lot of moments, even though it has the classic hardcore sound, I think you do have like a lot of the brutality from some of the newer sound as well. Some sort of like thrashy riffs in there, but like not like the fast-paced thrashy riffs, but like the sort of mid-tempo stuff, and it's sort of groovy, sort of groovy all the way throughout, and it's nice and heavy too. So I think if you like hardcore, you're not gonna, you're not fucking hell, you've infected me with your Porky Pig. You're not gonna dislike the song. Basically, it's good.
Well, you know what? It's really good. Did you watch the video, by the way?
No, I'll just listen to
the video is very good.
I
think it's the vocalist. It looks like the strongest man on the fucking planet. Like to the point where I might send this guy flowers just to make sure he doesn't. I don't mean him any ill intent, but it is such a good video. It also is such a good track, and I didn't really know about a lot of Power before this track, and I saw it circulating on my Twitter because I've got the thing is I've got the Headbangers Twitter for like the metal stuff, so I'll be like, oh, I'll see if I'm in the metal mood. Let's see what's going on there, but. For the like hardcore stuff, my actual like own Twitter account, I follow a lot of people that'll be tweeting like all the hot shit in the hardcore scene. So like I always mainly find my fucking like bangers from that because I listen to a lot more hardcore now, and I was pleasantly surprised when I banged this on.
Exactly. And you know what they say, a balanced diet is a good diet, and that's why
exactly.
Double the research to find you the heaviest shit from the month. I want to finish off my little list with Revocation, another band that me and Nathan are a big fan of. I think I might have included one of their tracks. Exactly.
One of the goats.
And this track is called Galleries of Morbid Artistry. So I love this one. I actually listened to this one when I was away. Obviously, there's a lot of build up to this. A lot of people, and including the band themselves, were saying this is going to be more of a straightforward death metal outfit. The last album, Art Ones, was great, It was sort of leaning towards the more proggy sort of sound that they had been shifting towards. But this one, they sort of dialed it back. It felt like all Revocation again. But still, obviously, they are masters of the crafts. So the guitar playing, the drum fills are all very technical too. And this song in particular is so good because it drags you into this world. Like it just feels like you're just falling through the pits of hell and like all this sort of morbid, you know, gruesome stuff is happening around you. And that's what I love about it. It's like sort of descending down and it will take you on a bit of a journey. And I think that's what's great about Revocation. Sometimes it can be quite fast, but it kind of keeps you along for the ride. So you really feel like they're taking you on this brutal journey. And this album's great. Honestly, I think it's some of the finest work that they've done. A mature band that have been around in the game for quite a long time. They know where they've been for the last few albums. They've taken some of the proggy stuff, but they've also showed, this is why we love death metal, and we can still do that well too. So yeah, honestly, fantastic album.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. The track that you put on there, it was very good. Like, I didn't get a chance. I haven't had a chance to like listen to the full like album because I feel like the viewers know me now. Again, I get to it when I get to
that.
I should do, but then I get distracted very easily. So I'll just be like, oh yeah, I'll listen to the new Revocation album, and then Spotify be like, oh, by the way, this just dropped. I'm like, oh, well, what's this?
Shiny.
I'm like, and then I'm in like a fucking tunnel, and like just in a rabbit hole of like, whoa, this is a new band that I haven't listened to before. It's a young one. Spotify has been like, oh yeah, if people who listen to these guys also listen to these guys, I'll be like, aye, let's fucking check those guys out. Then before I know it, I'm like, why did they go on Spotify? Oh yeah, Revocation. It'd be like 11 o'clock at night. I need to go to bed. So I will check out the new album eventually. But the track that I did listen to was very fucking good, which was obviously it was the title track, wasn't it? The Galleries of Morbid Artistry. Yeah, that was fucking good. Like Revocation never disappoint. I've been a fan of them for quite a few years now, and I've never been disappointed by them. And I hope they come to the UK soon.
They are. They're doing a tour in February, so we need to go.
Yeah, we do need to go. We do need to, because I honestly I've wanted to see them for so long.
Yeah, they're great. So long.
Right, but yeah, they're such a good fucking solid band. Like, there's not many people that can really touch him at the moment. Yeah, if I'm honest,
they are the kings of consistency. Like they really are. Like everything they release is like different in its own way. Like they make this little baby of fucking amazing death metal. Tech death is their game, but they do it well. And I think, everything that they release has been amazing, and I can't wait to see where they're going to take it next. Whether they're going to go back to the Outer One sound or this, or they're going to do a bit of a mixture of both. But yeah, I honestly think if you like death metal, you should check it out because it's sick.
Definitely.
What's your last one, Nathan? What's going to end
my last one
series?
My last one is Lorna Shore, Dancing Like Flames. Part 1, because I couldn't put part 2 on there because let's face it, it's October, and it dropped like last week. But I could put it on this one, so I decided to go, hey, part 2 might be on there. I didn't think part 2 was necessarily as good as part 1, but part 1 was exactly what I kind of wanted to hear from them. Like I feel like they released To the Hellfire, and that was amazing. But there was like a few releases that I liked, and then like after that, it just kind of felt, and no disrespect to them, because I knew what I was signing up to every time I listened to them, which was just fucking brutal. But it kind of got samey, like it did kind of feel quite like it was like, okay, well, it's kind of like that Lorna, To the Hellfire vibe again, and this was like a breath of fresh air. Like truly was a breath of fresh air, because I think it's their best song they've done. If I'm honest, that's like the subject matter is good. Like it is definitely very deep. And like when it just takes 5 minutes to read the lyrics to realize that. So yeah, I just thought it was a very, very solid song. And I think it's the best one they've done. It's definitely my favorite. So yeah, I just think it was very impactful as a song.
Yeah, I think it took a lot of people by surprise. Obviously everyone knows Lorna Shore for the aggression and just like, just completely out there, guitar playing, drumming, and vocal Olympics. Like, that's what they're known for, and then they're great at it. So, when they release something like Sun Eater, it's a great track. But I think it's interesting because they took like a very emotional, mature turn with this song. They did the video that, coincides with it as well, touching on some pretty, emotional stuff as well. But I really liked it. And even the musicianship, like it didn't feel as full on as what they usually do. The sort of very melodic. Even the bit of clean singing from, Will Ramos in there at some points. So
I don't think there was necessarily clean singing.
It's not clean singing, but it's not clean singing, but it's not like there's a few sections where it's not as full on as it usually is. Like, it's there to carry things a bit more.
Well, in the business, Brad, we call that fry screaming.
Whatever. But yeah.
He was just using his fry technique, Brad.
Yeah. Well, his fry technique was very good. And I think I'm interested to see like the rest of the album, because obviously we've had a few tracks from them. Sun Eater is, quite typically Lorna Shore. I still love it. And then you had Into the Earth as well, which is a bit more like avant-garde than like some of their other stuff. Like that kind of goes into more of an atmosphere sort of type song. And then you've got this one, which is more emotional, more mature. So I think we're going to get a very mixed bag with this album. So I'm excited to listen to it in full. But yeah, this song is great. And I think if you've had misconceptions about Lorna Shore, or if you think everything's going to be to the hellfire, think again, because this song's not that case.
Yeah. My dog, I'd noticed my door open on my webcam, and I shat myself, and it's just my dog.
That's your dog.
He's just in my room right now next to me.
It's haunting you.
Yeah, no, I genuinely shot myself then. But yeah, no, I just think it's a very solid, very solid release. It's definitely my favorite. I'm interested to see what we get from the album, because I was like, I was secretly hoping when they came back that it was going to be a full length album, but it was obviously just the EP. And I'm intrigued to see what a full length album is going to be like from them.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so that's been our list for September. I think we've given you a good mixture there. Everything from the realms of death metal, hardcore, and metalcore. So yeah, and check them all out. And deathcore too. Yeah, we're covering all the grounds. But yeah, check them out. They're really good.
Well, we didn't put any avant-garde jazz black metal in there. Damn it.
No, well, we never know what October's going to bring. It is the spooky season after all, so I'm assuming there'll be a few black metal bands. To be fair, some black metal bands almost did make the cut. If I could give some shout-outs, there'd be Garia and Turd Eater, because they're two very good black metal albums that released this month. But there's too much good stuff to condense. But they would be my next choices. But yeah, check them all out if you haven't. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like seeing this. We've got some pretty cool stuff in the works, so watch this space. There might have been a few clues thrown around in this one.
Things coming soon.
Yeah, just like every local band, big things coming. But yeah, check it out.
Doesn't do anything after that post.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Take care.
See ya.